Hey guys, it's Ben, the NLD kid. I haven't made a video in a while, I've been pretty busy, but there is some really great news, and that is that I got into classical, the test in high school in my city. I was worried about getting in because the way my disability interacted with the test format was challenging, to say the least. But I did get in, which is amazing, and I'm super psyched about that. Today's video is going to be about anxiety and depression and how it relates to NLD and what you as a parent, a student, and a teacher can do to help yourself or your child or classmate, student. Yeah. So nowadays, my anxiety is a lot less than it was when I was little because I have ways of dealing with it, but there are still some things that stress me out. Those things include how it is still hard for me to read people, still hard for me to gauge what people's meaning from their words, right? So that can cause anxiety because I often start to spiral. I'm like, oh my god, what if they weren't joking? What if they hate me? What if everyone hates me? I should just go be alone and not ever talk to anyone. This can also happen if I'm quote unquote debating with someone in a casual context and a bunch of other people start piggybacking on them, and it can often be very overwhelming when a bunch of people are quote unquote yelling at you or being kind of up in your face at multiple people coming from multiple different angles, because I can't deal with all of you at the same time, and that can cause me, at least, and most NLD kids, to feel very overwhelmed and to need to want to run away and isolate or to overreact, neither of which is a preferable outcome. Now, an easy solution to this is that in the middle of the day, do as I do, which is go find somewhere quiet for lunch. I like to use the guidance office, not the lunchroom. The lunchroom is loud. The library, the music room, some teachers that people eat in their rooms. These places allowed for me to decompress, hang out with a few people who I know are reliable and calm, and get ready mentally for the rest of the day. Teachers can also cause a bunch of anxiety for me nowadays. If a teacher is unclear in their directions and is testy when you ask them for clarification, that can very much confuse and cause anxiety for NLD kids because they don't know why you're being angry at them. They just want clarification so they can do the work that you have assigned to the best of their ability. Now, when kids are little, and especially when I was little, there was a whole bunch of different issues that you as a parent, teacher, and student must deal with. Often when kids are little, and this goes for every little kid, they have a hard time communicating their emotions, and especially their feelings of frustration. Now, when NLD kids are so frustrated, often they'll I used to draw all over my arms in pen and marker and stuff and cut my clothing. And you have to watch out because these things, though benign at first, can quickly develop into self-mutilation and more serious conditions. So you need to find a way to talk to your child and have them communicate their emotions, as hard as that may be. A lot of things that can cause anxiety in little kids are kids being physical, because preschoolers and especially in elementary school, kids are very physical. They like to roughhouse, boys especially, and that can be confusing to an NLD kid because they often go too rough because they're okay, we're doing this, or they misinterpret the intentions, and that can cause anger from the other kid's part, why would you hit me that hard? And the NLD kid just gets frustrated because they thought they were playing by the rules that the other kid set forth. Also, NLD kids often had a hard time being in trouble. If a teacher's mad at them, that kind of negative attention and negative emotion is very difficult to read and deal with as an NLD kid, even now, but especially when one is little. And NLD kids are in trouble all the time when they're little because the things that are focused on at that age are organization, handwriting, and physical awareness. 3 things that NLD kids and students are especially bad at. And this leads to NLD kids, and me especially, coming home stressed. And then when your parents try to ask you, how was your day? Or try to interact with you, you become testy and like angry at them, when even though they're not the ones who've done anything wrong. You're just sunburned, as in you're too sensitive because you've already had too much emotional damage from throughout the day. And for me, I would come home super fragile and I would want to do nothing but watch David Attenborough because of the auditory soothing that causes. So if you can find something that helps your NLD kid relax, such as auditory soothing or whatever, that's super good and helpful. And if you can set a routine, so you're going to come home and you're going to get to de-stress, and then you are going to go do something with your mom or dad, or you're going to whatever you do whatever you want to do with your kid after school, whether that be homework or hanging out with the parents, and or a sport or whatever. NLD kids need that time to be able to de-stress and move from the day to the afternoon. Now, NLD kids can help themselves deal with stress, but they can't do it alone. NLD kids, I cannot stress this enough. If you are the parent of an NLD child, you must get them a therapist as soon as you can. Because the world is incredibly taxing and stressful for NLD kids, and having someone who can help them navigate that beyond just you is paramount. I personally have multiple therapists. I have one at school. I have one who I see on a weekly basis. I have one who I see less regularly, but I have on retainer for meds in case I need them. And I have one who's a speech therapist, but she does like cognitive behavioral therapy. So like helping me read people, helping me know how to behave in certain situations. And those scripts that I've talked about in earlier videos, therapists can help your child develop those, which are crucial when a child is feeling stressed, because they can have something to fall back on, like, okay, I'm stressed, here's what I need to do to feel less stressed, or here's what I can do if I can't get to a situation where I can feel less stressed. Here's what I can run through my head so I don't overreact. Now, as a parent or a teacher, you can also help the NLD kid. Teachers, if you can give step-by-step instructions to kids, that is very helppful. It leads to us not having to ask as many questions, and that interaction can be stressful because we often don't know how to ask for help. And it is going to end up with better work from us in general. And teachers should realize that if a high-potential, highly motivated kid is having trouble with organizing or other basic things that they should be able to do, realize that that's also incredibly stressful for the child. For example, from like 1st through 4th grade, I got diagnosed in 4th grade, I would always have the messiest desk. And I was like, why is my desk so messy? I know that I can do this. Why can't I do this? I thought I could do it. I literally can't. We literally cannot do these basic, quote-unquote, things, but we need to be told that it's not something wrong with us, that we can't do this. We need to be reinforced that we are okay, because it can be incredibly stressful to not be able to do something and not understand why. And if you do see this in a kid who you don't know that has NLD, I would highly recommend that you recommend they get tested, because it's what got me tested and it's what got me diagnosed. Parents, I touched on this earlier, but if you can set up a routine after school that gives time for decompression, that can be helpful. And if you can maybe do some research or talk to your kid and figure out how you can get them to talk about their feelings, that can also be very important when it comes to dealing with stress. And parents can introduce therapy from a young age to help with that previous thing. Now, self-advocacy is not something that comes with NLD. They're simply two ships passing in the night. I have recently started to advocate for myself a little bit more, but up until even 6th or 7th grade, it was incredibly difficult and stressful. So get ready to be in an interface with the school pretty consistently. And this can, like my old school, they were like, why are you still talking to us? Why isn't Benjamin just speaking for himself? But it's part of the literature, it's been said again and again, NLD kids have a problem with self-advocacy, and you as the parent need to be their voice when it comes to getting accommodations, when it comes to making sure that things are okay in the school. You need to be interfacing with the administration on a semi-regular basis. And parents and teachers need to know and make clear to peers and the NLD kid that nothing that the NLD kid is doing because of their disability or is feeling because of their disability is a character judgment or a flaw. It's not about intention, motivation, or work ethic. It's about a disability, and you need to make that clear, because otherwise the NLD kid could feel very down and have very low self-esteem because they feel that they're less than and not on par with their peers, even though they often are, and even sometimes are above intellectually their peers. But because of some things, they can feel very low functioning and disabled. Now, I hope you all have enjoyed this video. I hope you all have learned something. If you liked the video, please drop a like. If you have something interesting or important to say, or just want to give me some feedback, feel free to comment down below. If you know anyone with NLD, or know any teachers or administrators or parents who you think would benefit from this video or any of my other videos, feel free to share those with them. I have a playlist that has all my other NLD videos in there, and I hope I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day.